As I was pulling this in, I noticed that the parking lot or spot it was in has a big puddle, and now it's leaking. We believe it's from, so this little cap that's right there, it's hard to see, but it's got a tiny little rip in it. So Brandon's looking for another hose and see if we can put a bolt in it so we can get it to stop leaking. Alright, so we're letting it cool down so before we burp it, so now you can see that Brandon put in a little tube that he found. It's much longer now, and he put a little bolt in it. And then here is the old thing that randomly cracked and started leaking out of nowhere, because it was perfectly fine a couple of days ago when we were painting it. No leaks at all, so it just got old and started cracking really bad, and that's where it was leaking from. So he replaced it with this other tube we found. So, should stop leaking now, but we've got to burp it and go from there. Dry now, but this is the puddle that I noticed that my car left. It only sat here for maybe 5 minutes, and it left a massive puddle. So I'm really glad that I came out and noticed that, and we were able to fix it, because otherwise I'd be out of coolant, and it would overheat. And there goes the wagon. Alright, we are burping it now to see if Brandon's fix works or not. Your thumbs look funny.
You look funny.
There's no bubbles.
Okay.
So we'll see if burping it helps with that tube or whatever, if that tube doesn't leak. Hopefully not. Right now we're waiting for it to get up to temp so we can double check and make sure it's not leaking. When this hits roughly 190, that's when we'll know it's up to temp, and we'll check all over the engine bay, make sure there's nothing leaking out from underneath it. So there's no more leaks or anything. That was just because that little puddle is because we overfilled it a little bit, but it's not leaking anymore. So, yay! It seems like whenever we get one step ahead with this car, we are thrown like 3 steps back. But good thing it was an easy fix this time, and hopefully it stays that way. But I do know that those hoses were the original, or most of them are the original hoses that we got from the previous owners that used those hoses. I don't know how many times. They could be the factory hoses. I really don't know, because a lot of stuff has been done to this car that we don't know about, that the previous owners did. So hopefully no more hoses break or anything like that, and there's no more issues, and I can just continue furthering my car on and not run into even more issues like today. But now it's time to get the vinyl on and then wax it, and then the exterior will be done. At least that part. I might change it more, or I might want to do more to it, but for the most part, it will be somewhat done. Alright, so right now I am mapping out where I want to put the black vinyl that I have. And I'm kind of digging the angle on the fender, but I think I want to change the angle on the hood. But it's going to be the same on both sides, so it kind of gets that little stormtrooper. So this is what we're trying to mimic, something close to this. It's not going to be exactly the same, because I know some of these are shorter and thicker and whatever, and I kind of want to look a little bit proportionate. But that's roughly what we're aiming for to get onto the fender and onto the hood as well. This is what we're looking at so far. I'm pretty happy with how this looks. And I'm going to try and get that equal to the passenger side. But I'm actually pretty happy with this so far. And again, so these gaps in between the yellow, this is going to be black vinyl, and then obviously this will stay the white. So the yellow acts as the white gaps between the black vinyl. So, I don't know. I'm liking it. It's vinyl anyways, so if I don't like it, it's a giant sticker I can just take off, which isn't very giant at all. So, why not? Plus, we have a bunch of black and stuff like that here that's been here for years that they're not going to touch. And they haven't touched in years. So why not mess with it? day today. I'm going to get my windshield replaced as well as the passenger side mirror, which we decided just paint over because it's getting replaced anyways. And we're finishing up the vinyl. So this side we got completely correct, and then you guys saw that I did this side and the measurements were very much off. So we're fixing this today, but Beck is coming at about 10, so we're going to wait until he fixes or replaces my windshield, and then I'll work on my vinyl again, because that all has to be remeasured, unfortunately. But it was my first time doing it, so I don't know. It got fairly close to what it needed to be, but I didn't measure certain things correctly. But we only have to replace the middle two lines and then the bottom of the third one on the fender. So anyways, got Beck replacing my windshield and the mirror so I can finally have a good working passenger side mirror and not get stopped anymore for my windshield, which the crack that was originally on my windshield in the center right there, that was there when I bought the car. And then we had that random snow day like 2 years ago out in Rita. It got like super heavy. I don't know how much fell, but it did stick for the first time in like years in Tucson or Rita area. Anyways, and then we wiped off the snow and found this massive crack that goes from the bottom here all the way to the top almost. And it also splinters out to the side. So that was the crack originally, that little guy, not too big, but it splintered out pretty far. And that snow, I don't know, it had to weigh how much probably?
I mean, it'd only be like a pound or two.
Yeah, wouldn't take much, but it was enough to...
It was cold.
And it was cold. Yeah, cold, snowy, pound of snow. It was enough to put that little crack in there. So, but getting it replaced today, so oh well. Those of you interested, this is Beck's business card. He is super awesome. We go to him for all of our windshield replacements or glass replacements. We also recommend him to customers all the time. We always send people his way. So if you need anything replaced on your vehicle, glass-wise, then go to Beck. So Beck is here now. Hi, Beck. He's replacing my windshield and that passenger side mirror, so I'm going to take a quick break from doing the vinyl so he can get all that done. So that's the old glass. It got a little bit more cracked when it was coming out, but that's fine. So we might keep that just to mess with it and destroy it. And here's the new glass, and he's using universal weather trim on it because my moldings are pretty bad and you can't find replacement moldings for a wagon unless you go to the junkyard, which no junkyard has wagons. So we're using the universal stuff, which I figured we'd have to. So whatever. As long as it's not cracked, that's all that matters. Alright, so we have a new passenger side mirror and the windshield is in. So with the universal weather stripping though, the only thing is that this little corner is showing. That's just what that trim normally did for the stock trim, but it's not a big deal. So she's getting there. So the vinyl is done. We have the windshield in. These are what they look like. So Fred did this entire side. I did this side. So there's kind of a little bit of mess ups on my side, but they're not super obvious. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm glad we got it to what I wanted, which was super hard to do, but it got done. But she looks that much closer to a Stormtrooper, plus she's got new eyeballs because her windshield is replaced. So just got to fix those little paint issues on the hood, as well as of course that rear bumper, and then finish up some of that vinyl. But I like it a lot. I think it looks really cool, makes it look kind of aggressive and mean, and definitely like a Stormtrooper, so yay! So all done with the vinyl and the windshield's replaced. Just gotta fix up those little paint things for the exterior and finish up our vinyl. But yeah, and I think next video I will finish up the vinyl for the rest of it. We have to kind of mess with that a little bit, and then wax it. And the exterior, besides the paint touch-ups, will pretty much be done. So, yay!